Imagine you have this spreadsheet with some data and you want to turn it into a website for the whole world to see. This is one of the most standard things that you can do. This is one of the most sought after problems that people have, taking their data in their spreadsheet and turning it into a web page or a website, depending on how you look at it. And so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you 5 ways using 5 different tools that you can take this data and create a web page or a website out of it. And it's going to be up to you which tool you want to use if you want to do the same thing. The choice is going to be completely yours. So having said that, let's get started. So the first tool that we're going to be using is called Bubble. It's located at bubble.io, and this tool allows you to create apps that do all kinds of amazing things without writing a single line of code. And I'm going to be showing you exactly what you need to do in order to take that Google spreadsheet and transform it into a web page. So the first thing that you have to do is once you're on the page, you're going to create your free account. You're going to hit New App, and you're going to create a sample app. We're going to call this website. Website, whatever. Maybe add a number to make sure it's unique. We are going to say this is external, build a tool for myself, detail. We're going to say this is blog. All right, so once we have the new app created, we want to close the assistant. And we have a bunch of template stuff. Now what we can do is we can simply delete it because we don't need all this stuff. We can delete this as well. And for instance, we can delete this here, all of this stuff. And what we have here is a blank screen. Here's where we're going to be displaying the data. The next thing you want to do is you want to go into plugins and you want to add a plugin called API. You're going to type API. You're going to install the first plugin. You're going to hit done. Okay, once you have that set up, what you want to do is you want to go back here and you want to go to your plugin and you want to click on add another API. So what it wants is an API. And the reason for that is that we can't access this data directly. We need to access it through a third party, okay? And there's lots of tools that allow you to do that, but the tool we're going to be using today is called Sheety. It's spelled S-H-E-E-T-Y. And once you log in, you're going to have projects. Now, I already have a couple of projects here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want to create a new project from Google Sheet. And I'm going to paste my Google Sheet URL here. So I'm going to copy this right here, paste it here. And it's going to go ahead and it's going to find it. So there it is. It has the project name. This is called Sheet 1. We're going to create the project. And so what this allows us to do is actually access this data in a very programmatic way, okay? We can easily access this data. So for instance, we have a get rows from the spreadsheet. We can post, add, we can add a row, we can edit a row, delete. So we're not going to be using these 3. We're going to disable all of them. We're just going to be using the first thing. So we can copy it, go back to Bubble, and we're going to create a new API, and we're going to call this get data, okay? And we're going to hit expand. We're going to say get data. We're going to paste this here. And we're going to say use as data, and data type is going to be JSON, right? Because this is going to be JSON. So if we paste it here, this is the data we're getting, okay? And this is kind of what we have. So now, once we've done that, we need to hit initialize call. It gets the data. As you can see, it has this country, capital, description, ID. And before we continue, I just want to show you the data. We just have a simple data. We have country, we have the capital, and we have the description. Now, all I did is I just Googled for top 10 most visited countries in Europe, and obviously you can kind of, you can get any kind of data that you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm just using something very, very simple. I Googled this. I copied the name of the countries here. I got their capital, and I copied the first paragraph as description. Now, obviously, you can use any data that you want. I just want to show you something very, very simple. So once we have, so now that you've seen the data, once we go back to Bubble, we're going to hit save. And now we can use this specific get data API call. So we're going to go back to the design. We're going to hit repeating group. We're going to drag and drop it here. We're going to do this. We're going to say we want 4 rows and we want 3 columns. because our data has 3 columns. And that way we're going to be displaying the table directly from the spreadsheet. And that way, if you update it in the spreadsheet, it's going to be updated here as well. All right, so it says type of content. We're going to say get data sheet here. Data source is going to be get data from external API. We're going to say get data. We're going to say, that's it. That's all we have to do. We specify the type of content and we specify the data source. It's going to pull the data and it's going to display it. Now, we're not done yet. We need to do a couple of other things. We need to drag and drop a visual element. And so what we want to do is we want to drag this text right here. And this is going to display a certain field. So we have 3 of them here. Country, capital, description. We're going to copy and paste. We can drag another one, copy and paste one here. And that way we can display a lot of them, right? And so for this one, let's say we want to display, we're going to go in here, dynamic range. We're going to say this is country. This is going to be capital. And this is going to be description. Okay, that's it. And now when we load this up, when we preview, it's going to pull the data from the spreadsheet and it's going to show our data. And there you have it. We have the countries here, we have the capitals, and we have the description. Obviously, you can expand it a little bit. You can do a lot of interesting things. You could make it, you can expand it. You can do whatever you want here to make sure that it's displayed correctly. There's lots of formatting stuff, but I'm going to leave the formatting up to you. And obviously, you don't need to display it in this format. You can display it any way you want. It's just you kind of have to decide how you want to display it, and then it's really up to you. But in order to display a table, it's very, very simple, because how we set it up in 5 minutes is how you have it essentially. So we have friends, we have countries, we have capital, and we have the description here. And using this method, you can create any kind of website that you want. It's completely flexible. The next method I'm going to be showing you is using an app builder called Appgyver. So this is completely different. We're still going to be using Sheety, this helper app that takes this data and makes it easy for us to process. But the way we're going to set up is very, very different from the previous app. So first, we need to log in into my account. This is completely free. These are free accounts. You don't need to pay for anything. All right, so here I am logged in into my account. What we're going to do is we're going to hit create new. We're going to create a new app real quick. We're going to call this app Spreadsheet. We're going to hit create. All right, once it's finished doing everything, you're going to be seeing a screen such as this one. What you want to do is you want to go into data here, right? And you want to create a data resource, okay? You're going to go in here. You're going to say data resource. You're going to do REST API integration. And here is where you're going to go back to Sheety, and you're going to copy this right here, okay? You're going to call this spreadsheet. You need a description, you need a resource API. This is kind of what we have. So if you go back, if you take a look at these URLs, they are all pretty much the same, right? So if you enable this, you see object ID, but as you can see, the base is the same, right? It has that sheet 1, which is kind of what we're working with. So what you need to do is you need to have the base here. So I'm going to disable these back up, and we do have the base. We're going to keep saving. You want to keep saving with this tool because it doesn't save automatically. And here it has various records. Now, these are analogous to what we have here. Now, this is the only one we have enabled, is get. So if we go back, this is the only one we're going to be using. So it's get collection, get record. We're just going to do get collection to keep it simple. We have it here. So right now, it essentially puts it in there for us. And that's perfect. That's kind of what we need. And we need to do result sheet 1. Okay. Now it says save. I just keep saving automatically. We're going to go back into get collection. We're going to do test. We're going to say run test. Now we're getting an array, and this is perfect. Now, before you close this out, what you want to do is you want to go in here. You want to go to the data variables, and you want to add a data variable. You want to use this spreadsheet here. So now this data variable is linked to our API that we configured, but now we can start using it inside our app. We're going to hit save, and now you can actually display this data. And what we want to do is we want to use one of these lists here. So I'm just going to use a list item right here. I'm gonna drag this. Now, once we have the list here, what we want to do is we want to set up the repeat. We click here, we go to data and variables, and we pick our data variable that we configured before. As you can see, it's a list of objects with 4 properties, which is kind of what we have. We have capital, we have country, we have description, and we have the ID. So we're going to hit save. And now we can configure all the fields inside. So we're going to go to primary label. We're going to say data item and repeat. We're going to pick current. And we're going to say this is going to be country. Okay, so preview value is France. We're going to hit save. And then maybe this label, secondary label, data item and repeat current. And we are going to say this is the capital. Okay, and we don't really have a description in this case. So France, Paris. And so the next country might be whatever that country is, Germany, Berlin, etc. So we're going to hit save. And now we can run the app. So now we can go to launch here. We can go open app in preview portal. The app we're working on naturally. All right, so now we have the apps. We're going to open this app we're working on. And here we have empty page. We can change that. But now we have a web page that's displaying the values, the country name and the capital name that we initially got from here. Now, obviously, if we change something here, our data is going to change as well. So this is a completely different method, but we are getting the exact same result. The next method I'm going to be showing you is using this app builder called Thunkable, okay? So I'm going to log into my account. You can create a free account. It's absolutely free. Everyone can get started, but I'm going to go ahead and log in. All right, I'm logged in, and we're going to create a new app here. We're going to call this Spreadsheet Test. We're going to say public. We're going to say category business. Okay, I'm going to say create. It's creating it. And now we have the app here. So it works slightly different than the previous 2 tools, but it's also a very, very good tool to use. So we're going to go into data. And here we have a data source. So we can add a data source. We're going to say create new. And this tool allows you to connect directly to Google Sheets. So we're not going to be using an API like in the previous 2 tools. We're going to be using Google Sheets directly. So this is going to be a lot more straightforward. So we're going to hit Google Sheets. And we're going to say name is travel. Which row are the column headers in 1? Which is the first row containing data? Number 2, we're going to say select the sheet. It's going to log in into our Google Sheets account. So I'm going to pick the spreadsheet here. I'm going to say select. And so once I selected the spreadsheet, it's going to appear here. And if we click on it, you will see the data here, right? So we have our countries, our capital, and the description. So this is nice because we're not using another tool in between, right? This is a slightly different method. So once we have that, we can go back to the designer, and now we can start working with the data. So what we want to do is we can do date input, time input. We can do a lot of interesting things. But typically in this case, what you want to do is you want to be using a data viewer list or a data viewer grid. So if I drag and drop this right here, we can actually display the data, right? So it says data source. I'm going to say travel. I'm going to say sheet 1, and now it's going to be displaying it in this format here. And so it says get title property from column. We're going to say country. And then it says get title property from column. We're going to say capital. Okay? So then you can configure a bunch of other things. We're going to hit preview and see what happens. And so if we preview the app, this is what we see. We see our data list. We see the countries, and we see the capital. So if you refresh the app, you're going to have the same data. Now, obviously, all of this is absolutely configurable. The way it shows up, everything is configurable. What you see here, this is kind of the style that you see. You can change it, right? You can just have it just title. You can have it title, subtitle. You can do something like this, how it appears here. You can put a picture. We don't have a picture, so we're just going to keep it simple. Title, subtitle, we have it here. We have a bunch of other things. We can obviously make it interactive. We can add a lot of other things. But at the end of the day, if we preview this, and when you launch the app, if I go into preview in the new window here, just to kind of see everything, we're going to see our data that we pulled from Google Sheets. So once you launch it, you now have a web page. It's in mobile form. You can configure it as a web app. You can do a lot of interesting things. But the point is, it's here now. And then this kind of sets the stage for you to continue building the app if you want to do something else, or if you just want to leave it as is. Now, the next method I want to show you is using an app builder called Adalo. And in my opinion, this is probably one of the easiest ways to get started with building kind of a web page online. This is actually mobile first, right? So if you want to build a web page to be used for mobile devices, this is a really, really good app. So this is very, very simple. You're going to sign up for your free account. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in here. So I'm logged in. I'm going to go ahead, create a brand new app. I can do a desktop web app. I can do a native mobile app. So I'm going to show you a native mobile app, which is very, very easy. And that way you can create a web page to be used on a mobile device that people can actually install and use and see for themselves. So we're going to say spreadsheet test. We're going to hit create. And we have a bunch of these screens, sign up, login. I'm going to delete this just to keep things simple. Here we have a web page. Okay, this is a web page. And all we have to do is hit this plus button. We're going to add a component. We're going to do a simple list, drag and drop it right here. And as you can see, we have a title, subtitle. Now, what we need to do is we need to go to the database. And the way this works is that we need to do an extra step. We're going to go back here to our Google. We're going to do File. We're going to say download as comma-separated values. We're going to hit that. It's going to save it onto our hard disk. We're going to go back here and we are going to create a collection. Okay? So the collection is called Travel. And we are going to create 3 records. We're going to say this one is going to be called Capital. Okay? This one is going to be called City, country, and this one is going to be called Description. We actually don't need the name, so we can actually rename this into Capital and delete Capital. Now we have Capital, Country, Description. So what you want to do is you want to hit 0 records here, and you want to go into Import CSV. Now all you want to do is you want to drag and drop that file that you just saved, and once you drag it, it tries to understand exactly what you have. So it tries to map things. It's mapping the file into the data that you configured here. So it's telling you that this is the stuff that you're importing, and this is the stuff that you have. So we have country, capital, everything is matched up correctly. We're going to hit import. Import is successful. And this is the data that we have. We're going to say done. We're going to go in here, click on this, and we're going to say this is a list of travel. And we're going to say that the title is actually a capital or a country, or let's say capital. Subtitle, we're going to hit this. We're going to say country. And that's it. Now, if you preview this, we have a web page that's designed for mobile. That looks like this. We have Lisbon, Portugal, Moscow, Russia. You can rename it. You can do a lot of interesting things. In fact, you can easily customize it. You can remove this left section here. So if you go to left section, you can disable it. And now it's just that. You can have a right section. A right section could be a button or an arrow or something else. We can disable that. So if I preview this, now we have this. Now we have a list. Now obviously you can configure it. You can make it interactive. But right now you have a web page that's very, very easily viewable on mobile. And obviously you can do the same thing as a regular design for regular screens. But I just wanted to show you a mobile just to switch things up a little bit. Last but not least, I want to show you how you can create a web page from a spreadsheet using this very, very nice tool called Glide. And the URL is glideapps.com. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account. You can sign up for your free account as well. So we're going to go into new project here. I'm just going to call it, whatever. Spreadsheet test. We're going to be doing a glide page. We're going to hit continue. We are going to say blank. And here is where it asks us what we want to do. And we're obviously going to be picking Google Sheets. And this is also a great app that connects directly with Google Sheets without using a third-party system. So this is probably one of the easiest setups. So we're going to hit continue. We're going to pick our spreadsheet here. And right away, it built a web page for us. Right away. So we can configure it. We can do a lot of things. And in my view, this is probably the easiest way to create a website. Now, you can use any system that you want. But as you can see, this automatically created for us. So if we click on this, we are in the data editor. So we can change all this, and we can also change it here, and we can sync it. We can click this button to sync the data together. So we can go back here. We can change the layout. We can change the source, right? If you want to use another page, if you want to do something else, you can change how it looks. We can go to screen here, and we have a collection. And as you can see, it's a card system. We can do grid, right? It changes it. We can do a list something like that. We can do a table, right? Kind of what we were doing before. And here's where we can configure the fields, right? So we have the country name and the capital as the description. Now, depending on what we're doing, sometimes you're going to have extra fields. You can also have an image. We don't have an image in this case, but this allows you to get started very, very, very quickly. And you can also configure the colors. You can do different colors, app info. You can change all that. You can, change the light, top, the left. You can do a lot of customizations, right? So for instance, let's say we want to do a list. That looks cool. And if we click on it, we can also do something here, right? We can have country. We can have a description here. Look at this. It's actually showing the description. All of this is absolutely configurable. It's just up to you how you want to configure, right? We can go to breadcrumbs. We can configure the title. We can add an action. We can redirect them. So there's lots of interesting things that you can do. And once you're done configuring everything, all you have to do is go into publish, and it's going to be published onto the internet. And that is 5 ways that you can take any data and easily make it available online as a web page. Let me know in the comments below which method you like better. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Give this video a fat like if you did. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more no-code videos and tutorials. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you real soon.